Good evening, friends, and welcome to Littleport Christian Spiritualists. It is a pleasure to welcome everybody here this evening on the internet, live across the vast and wonderful internet, reaching out to all those of a spiritual and spiritualist nature. It's good to have you all, and in a moment we're going to welcome our medium for the evening. She's never been with us before, so give her a proper and decent Littleport welcome when she does come up. But before we begin the service proper, I would just like to say a few words, really, before I lose the chance to get a word in edgeways, as we know how things are in this way of life. You see, over the last few days and last week, I've seen lots of comments on the internet about the future of spiritualism, about the future of divine services and services of mediumship, which are two completely different things, of course. And I was chastised a few months ago by suggesting the possibility that the wonderful new air of community that we were all experiencing at the beginning of COVID-19 wouldn't last. And of course, I was hopeful, but was still slightly unsure. I've seen comments over the last few days relating to other groups who do not do online services. Now, being spiritualists, we recognize that there is more to our way of life than just mediumship. Mediumship is the core of our way of life, but it is not everything. And so my point is, these groups that are being chastised for not going online, that's grossly unfair and unspiritual. Because I know of several groups that have opted not to go online, but I do know the work that they do for their congregation, their regular members and their communities is second to none, and they work very hard to support their members. So I would send a simple and polite call out to remind everyone of the second principle of the religion of spiritualism, the brotherhood and the sisterhood of the human family. Simply put, let us stop ripping ourselves apart before we start criticizing everybody else. And remember that there is more to our way of life than just mediumship, and that these groups that are not working online are beavering away very, very hard in the background with their friends, their communities and their congregation to continue the purpose of this spiritual way of life, and that's supporting each other. And we should support them for what they are doing, rather than saying that they're not actually doing anything, because they blooming well are. So now I've got that out of the way, I feel quite comfortable in having an opening prayer, which will be given by our medium this evening. But first of all, let's give her a proper Littleport welcome. Bring her up on screen, say hello, have a quick chin wag. Are you there, Philomena?
I'm here, but I can hear a lot of crackling going on.
Oh, let me see. It might be my microphone brushing. There we are. Let's.
Oh, right, okay, just a crackling.
How are you, my love?
I'm all right, thank you. Yes, very well, thank you.
Let me. Can you still hear me? And has the crackling gone?
Can you hear me?
Has the
crackling's still there.
Ooh, this is interesting. Let's have this. Wonders never cease in knowledge. Let's try another set of earphones. What about now? Ooh.
Can't hear you now. Can you hear it?
I can just about hear you. I think it's possibly the connection. I recognise that little vibrating sound. Can I ask a favour, my love?
All right, okay.
Would you like to just come off and reconnect? Because that usually clears it.
Right.
So if you close down your internet and start again, and then come back on, and I'll bring you straight back as soon as you reconnect.
The whole thing, you mean?
Yeah.
there. Yeah. So I turn the whole system off. That's what you mean. Turn it off, reboot it.
Yeah, basically, and we'll just keep things talking until we
I'll come
get back and hear you properly. It usually fixes it. Oh.
Yeah, okay, I'll come off it.
See you in a second. Well, there's always something when it comes to technology, but let's continue, and let's bring up a good friend of mine and the principal minister of the New Christian Spiritualist Society. I will remind her, of course, that I can see everything she does, and I did see her taking a photo of the screen whilst I was speaking. So let's have a chit chat about that. Hello, dear. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Reverend Nick.
Good evening.
Good evening. And, you know, nothing ever runs smoothly, does it, in spiritualist churches? Whether it's even somebody falling on the recording machine, you know, the music machine, they fall on it sometimes and ruin everything for everybody, and we don't know where we are with the music tapes or anything.
Well, we used to do that all the time, didn't we?
Something like that happening about 20 years ago.
Yes, frequently.
When the speaker might have been myself.
Yes, once or twice.
It could have been that.
Yeah, so the technology is a wonderful thing, but I think what has just happened has probably proved right what I was saying at the beginning.
Yes. And the other thing, that was the quickest reply you've ever had, and the shortest.
I know.
I was smiling and giggling to myself off camera, of course, which was just as well, when you were speaking, Nick, about philosophy.
Yeah.
Because, and you were talking about the principles of spiritualism, and I was wondering what I might talk about this evening. And never mind that Kathy said to me, well, you're never short of ideas of what to talk about. You know, it's shutting you up that sort of is the problem. But I was actually thinking about the way in which I was taught in the first instance that all the philosophy you need about spiritualism is the 7 principles. All you need to do is talk about any one of those 7 principles, and that encapsulates the whole of spiritualist philosophy. Of course, I fell for that one, hook, line, and sinker. And I suppose, in a way, you could extend it, you know, as people do. You know, the fatherhood of God, well, you can talk about that for eternity, basically. You know, the brotherhood of humankind, we can talk about that too. All the principles are well worth talking about ad infinitum. But I was thinking about whether being told that actually precluded the looking at, discovering, and being interested in all the other tenets and principles of other religious belief systems that we might talk about, that I would say would be equally valid as our spiritualist principles. And let's face it, our spiritualist principles are not even 200 years old yet. And some of the principles of other religions are thousands and thousands of years old and worth looking at. And if there's something in them, to actually discuss and philosophize over, if you like. Although I'm being told by them upstairs, that I always reverently call my guides and helpers, that really it will all boil down to those same principles in the end. So, yeah. You know, we go round and round in circles, and we come back to those principles that we live by and that you referred to, Nick. So that's why I was smiling away to myself, you know, backstage in the green room. Well, it would be green if it wasn't sort of wicker and various, you know, stuff in it. And I was smiling because you started talking about the flaming 7 principles. One shouldn't call them flaming, I suppose, because that belongs to the other place, apparently, of which we know nothing at all whatsoever.
Absolutely.
You know, it might be a little warm down there. But, yeah, so I was very interested, Nick, when you started, Reverend Nick, sorry.
It's all right.
when you began to talk about that problem that we have with philosophy and, you know, getting that out. Because, of course, you know, we do rest on mediumship. We do rely on our mediums to bring that proof, that evidence of survival after physical death. You know, our loved ones come back to comfort us, give us messages, prove that they are actually doing something else now, albeit without us. But it's so wonderful, isn't it? But yes, it is easy sometimes to skip the philosophy piece. And that's why so many people always flocked to demonstrations of mediumship and not necessarily flocked to our spiritualist services, which they knew would contain the philosophy that we love so much. And I'm sure that those who enter our spiritualist churches, you know, are not really concerned with whether or not we have used the 7 principles to talk about our philosophy or not. But yeah, so I really found it very interesting, Reverend Nick, that you decided to talk about that. But then, after all, how much do we decide, and how much is our psyche prompted by our guides and helpers? And of course, in our case, Reverend Nick, they sort of overlap.
Yes.
Dear boy.
You owe me a gin, Reverend.
Yes, and the funny thing is that the wonderful minister, the spiritualist minister who wrote on the side of Angels about Gordon Higginson and his life, to whom we refer, was of course a stalwart of the 7 principles variety of spiritualism, and she was a wonderful orator as well as a wonderful medium, Jean Bassett. You know, so we should mention her in the same breath, really, as Gordon, because of course she knew him very well, and she did write this wonderful book for which she actually got a fellowship of the Spiritualist National Union. But you see, if you write a fellowship for any academic institution, you actually give up the copyright to that.
Yes.
I haven't given any institution anything yet.
Absolutely not. Quite right too.
So you know, I'm hoping, Reverend Nick, that our medium for tonight will have had her technical difficulties sorted out, because Kathy, of course, always the cynic, and very direct, said, you know, when she first came in here, oh, hasn't the medium turned up? And I said, well, it's not quite like that anymore, because there is no excuse for not turning up. And even though dear Gavin Smalley was always late, he always managed to get behind a tractor en route to the village hall, where we hold our services every Thursday night, usually, as we are tonight. And it was always a tractor that held him up. And I said to Kathy, well, I don't think that actually, you know, that doesn't actually mean anything at the moment, because of course we can all talk from our own homes and, you know, wherever we may be, and it doesn't matter how many tractors are out there.
Absolutely. He was always a tractor magnet, it has to be said. Perhaps there was a tractor driving past Philomena's house, affecting the signal.
And interfered without a suppressor.
Yes, exactly. Well, my love, I'm going to actually get in touch with her and help her out. So if you would like to have a chat with Alan, and we'll have Alan's reading, I can take myself away and have a quick word with her.
Oh, sure, Reverend Nick. Yes.
Reverend Alan, are you there?
I am.
Excellent. I look forward to listening to your reading, but for the moment, I'm going to go and have a chat with the medium.
Yeah.
Hello, Reverend Alan.
Hi, Lynn. I hope you're very well.
Well, very reasonable in the circumstances, I always say. Thank God.
Well, that's right. You know,
and you're looking fairly too.
I wake up in the morning, I'm still breathing, there's not too much wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially if you can actually get out of bed, that's always helpful as well.
That's a definite plus, isn't it?
Yes, and especially if your poor lady wife has to assist you. in that.
Oh, no, it's the other way round.
You don't have to have a system of pulleys yet. So have you chosen a nice reading for us tonight, Reverend Alan?
Well, I've chosen a reading, Reverend Lynn, so, you know, whether it's nice or not remains for our audience to decide.
Well, I'm sure it will be very interesting.
You know, as you know, all my readings are chosen on the day by Spirit. This one particularly resonated with me because it's something that I believe. It's called "When You Look Over My Shoulder," and it's by Norman.
Lovely.
When you look over this when you read the names of the soldier, when you turn the pages, when you hug those that pays the struggle, the time, the human strife, will heaven's line behind me? Did I glorify the deeds of your powerful teaching? Will you see that my earthly purpose was fulfilled? Were my days devoted to the eternal value of precious blood once spilled? Did salvation flow to the soul that I continually pray for? Will they embrace only you could? Will your records humify labouring in the shadow of your glory? This, I pray, will be the case. The glorious day you read my life. Thank you.
Oh. God bless you, Alan. Reverend Alan, we some of the words were missing, but we can sort of fill in there.
Yeah.
The mic was missing here and there, but it sounded lovely and uplifting. And what's the actual story there, that somebody is saying that they have done their best while they've been alive?
Absolutely, yes.
And when they pass over to the realms of spirit, that the Lord will say to them, "Well done."
Yeah.
Basically,
it's always nice to and it's a pleasure for your comments there, Reverend Lynn, because it's coming from a person that actually looks deeper than the words themselves.
Well, yes, that's the point. Our words, yeah, go on.
And this is the point of the readings. There's always deeper meanings.
Absolutely. Words, after all, are only the language that we use to express the symbols that are in our mind.
Yeah.
So we get images in our minds, and then we express those images to other people through language.
Yeah.
You know, communication. And of course, you know, those images can be very vivid for us.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think that's why people like pictures so much as well, because a picture can't actually speak, but they say that a picture can tell 1,000 stories.
Absolutely, yes. You know, and it's strange, even a single photograph. 10 different people can look at that photograph and see 10 different meanings within it. It's so fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose then you have to start looking at this, you know, modern sculpture.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, there's all this argy-bargy at the moment about statues,
Oh,
because of course that was the only way that people had of seeing these famous people, was to have a statue made of them in a public place, because you couldn't have a portrait and hang that in Parliament Square, for instance, but you could make a statue, an effigy, a likeness that people could see and could appreciate who that person was or is. And this thing about statues now, just supposing that Henry Moore had been commissioned to actually, you know, produce a statue of some of these people that everybody is having a go at now, I think perhaps it wouldn't be quite the same. You know, Henry Moore was the one who did all those sort of big lumps of stone, polished stone with holes in the middle.
Yes, that's right. Yes, I do remember.
You know, that modern art. And I think if Henry Moore had done a few of those statues for us, there wouldn't be so much commotion over them, because really they would all be open to interpretation.
Yes.
We could call them anything we liked.
Yeah.
They could become something else. They could become, you know, Sir Winston Churchill could suddenly become called something else, because it wouldn't have looked like Sir Winston Churchill in the first place. So there you are. That's my strange thought about that.
No, those lovely words.
I see that we've got Reverend Nick back now.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, Nick.
Well, my friends, best laid plans of mice and men often torn asunder. Philomena's laptop has ascended to the spirit realms.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
She is trying to work on something else, but is not convinced that she'll be able to get on tonight.
Okay. So what are you thinking, Reverend Nick?
Well, I was wondering, Reverend Lynn, if you fancied being a bit of a medium tonight as well.
Yes, as Gerald O'Hara, the president of York Spiritualist Church, once said when I'd driven all that way up to York with Kathy, and it's a long boot from London, which was where we were living, and we went all the way up there, and it's a beautiful church, and it was absolutely packed. And he introduced me by saying, well, you all know Lynn, and I'm now going to ask her to give you a spot of mediumship. And then he sat down. So, yes, I think, you know, that's fine. I would do a spot of mediumship, sure.
A spot of mediumship. Well, I'm very pleased to say that one of the technical issues that we had this evening has been resolved. Our third recipient, Carol, is smiling away in the green room. I can see you. So welcome. So thank you, Reverend Lynn and Reverend Alan, for keeping things going.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, we did, didn't we, Reverend Alan?
I've got to show you this. I've got to show you this in reference to your comment.
Oh, Kathy. Well, I think she is.
I would hope so. After all,
I think she's a little bit psychic. Do you know how long she sat in circle with me, Reverend Nick? 17 years.
Yeah, so longer than I have.
17 years in circle.
Yes.
Yes. You know. So she may be. Now I'll get myself comfortable then, and that's the wrong way.
Well, we've got the healing to do, and I've got to thank Reverend. I'll tell you what. Let me change this screen because we can barely see it. Hello. When there's healing. So thank you for your reading. I will have a look.
Yeah, quite a lot of it. People heard it properly.
Good.
But what I could do, because I've saved this one in my on my laptop, I could actually probably put a copy on the church page in the morning.
Fabulous, wonderful, brilliant idea, lovely. Well, Alan, thank you very much, and we will see you later on.
Okie doke. Have a good evening, everyone.
You too. Well, let's just briefly unmute so that we've got the less of an echo. Here's me and Lynn sitting. So we're going to have our healing now. Back on track, my friends. And if Philomena does manage to fix things, I will, of course, bring her back up. But for now, let's continue with one of the most important forms of mediumship, and that is sending out our healing thoughts to all those who are sick and suffering and in need of comfort. The healing will begin with the healing prayer and will end with the word Amen, and during which there will be a short video for us to contemplate while we send out our healing thoughts. So let us begin with Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God. Here we bring unto you all those who are sick and suffering, be they sick in mind, body, or spirit, that it may please thee to heal them, both those we know and those we do not know, and those who have no one to ask for them. We ask for them now. Amen. Well, friends, now is the time in the service that I know you'll have been waiting for. Not exactly as planned, but I do know that we've got a very good medium with us tonight to do a spot of mediumship. So welcome back again. And I'll now unmute her so that the echo that I create when I speak is dealt with. It's Reverend Lynn.
Hello again.
Hello.
And here I am as the medium for the evening, or at least for, the time being. And I'll do my best. And it's a different way of working, of course, because ordinarily I would be on a public platform, on a church platform, and I would go to where I'm drawn, and my people over there would tell me where to go, and so on and so forth. And in this instance now, with this format, it's more like a private sitting where somebody might come to one and require a sitting just for themselves, and they have the entire focus straight away. However, it always worked either way. And so I'm quite happy to do. It's interesting, though, that because it's done like this, what I've noticed is that sometimes people tend to go on rather a long time with one sitter, just as if it was a private sitting. But what we have to remember is that this is a public demonstration of mediumship. So I will bear that in mind with my helpers over there. I'm sure they've already borne it in mind, and probably that's why they're prompting me to mention it. So I'll be very happy to work with the people who have been chosen to receive a message this evening.
Brilliant, thank you, Lynn. In actual fact, as always, I will pop up around about the 10-minute mark in an appropriate place.
Well, don't worry, Nick. We'll do it.
I know.
With her little bell.
Yes.
The president of West Norwood. If we were giving readings to raise money for the church, for instance, there'd be a few of us, and we would sit in a little group, and we'd be allotted 5 or 10 minutes each. We would be told beforehand how many minutes we could give to a sitter. And at the end of each 5-minute or 10-minute segment, Tilly would come out into the church and ring a little bell. and that would be it.
Yes.
We'd have to go on to the next person regardless. So yes, I'm sure that we'll manage, Nick.
And I know that you did that to me once. Well, in Wisbech.
Oh yeah, I did.
So therefore,
Oh,
we
dear.
begin as I introduce your first reading for this evening. Come on up, the wounded soldier.
Oh, Linda. Well, God bless to you. And, you know, you've been in my prayers, so I feel as if I've been talking to you anyway. But I was so sorry to hear about your accident, and these things do happen. And, you know, you've had lots of healing, of course, going at you from all corners and all people. And I'm sure that you'll be recovering much quicker than anybody else would as a result. But anyway, Linda, if I may just speak with you and to let people know that although I've known you for many years, and of course being dear Reverend Nick's mum, I know very little about your personal life, of course, because that's just how it is. And you know, especially as we all live in a village and everybody knows how reserved everyone is about their private business and what they get told if you try and find out about their private business. And at this time, Linda, I feel there's a lady very close to you, your mum, in fact, and she comes through and she's the person who's talking about this private business. And she was the one who's saying to you, you know, you don't need people knowing all your business. And I feel sure that she would have said that to you while she was down here and really tried to drum it into you. Because you were a very chatty girl. That's what I'm told. You used to like to, you know, I wouldn't use the word gossip, but you used to like to have a little chat about things and about people and what they were doing and stuff like that. And your mum was very concerned that you didn't get mixed up in anything that she thought wasn't quite nice.
Okay.
She had her ideas about what was good and what was bad and who was nice and who wasn't. And she would tell you, wouldn't she, like, you don't want to have anything to do with her because blah, blah, blah. And she'd know everything about everybody, but she wouldn't let anybody know about her if she could help it.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yes.
I'm glad you said yes, because there's me rattling on. And, of course, everybody is wanting to know whether I'm telling you the truth or not from your mum.
Yeah, you are.
But she was very, very concerned, and she said, you know, that is typical of you. I'm so sorry. She doesn't seem very sympathetic. Was she not? She couldn't have been very sympathetic, as it were, as a person when she was down here. She was more the person, well, you got into it, you get on with it. And, you know, she hasn't got a lot of sympathy for you. You know, she's sorry you did it, but she's saying you were silly. And she's saying that's typical.
Yes, I was.
You weren't looking where you were going, she said. You weren't looking where you were going. And I mean, the thing is that she didn't care. I know. What she's saying is she didn't care that the light was out or whatever. You should have made sure of what you were doing before you went across the room like that.
Yeah, the light was out.
Yeah, I know it was. She told me. So, you know, and that's the point, you see. That's what the point she's making, Linda, is that you haven't changed. That's what she's saying. And she thought by this time you would have learned. And that's exactly what she's saying to you. So she does love you. But if people were looking on the way your mum was with you, they'd have thought she was being a bit strict or a bit tough in her attitude towards you. That's what I think. But a lovely person. And I feel also that there's a sister over there, not of yours, of hers.
Yes. Yep.
Oh dear, that took a while, didn't it? That's like sort of, you know, we had to wait 5 seconds for that. But there's a sister over there, and she was not quite like your mum. She was sort of more softer in her way. And sort of more kindly. And I think that you could have got more sort of comfort from your auntie than you did from your mum.
I did. Yeah.
I do feel that. Yeah, I do feel that. What she's saying is that, you know, she feels that you know, she likes the way that you've tried to sort of sort out your arm and everything and try and look nice, because she was a lady who tried to make herself look nice at all times. You know, she really cared about her appearance and everything. And your mum was more sort of roll the sleeves up and get on with it sort of person. And she would not poke fun. She sort of like look at people who were all dressed up and sort of think they were a bit snobby.
Yeah.
You know, they thought they were better than they were. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's what I get. What I do need to say to you, Linda, is that she's very close to you at this time. She has been close to you, especially at night. She's saying your arm really aches. You don't tell people too much, but your arm really aches. And she's trying to do everything she can to send you some calming influence there on all your nerves, because you feel really bashed, she's saying. And you've had a few tears. And she says, don't be ashamed of that, because, you know, and what she's saying is that she would only cry in private. And you are very like her. But she knows that, you know, she knows she's trying to comfort you and give you that love, and to tell you that you are much loved. And there's everybody over there, all right. They're not having a party exactly at your expense, but they are all joining in with the thoughts and the love and everything like that. And you've even got your it's calling out here, Uncle Tom, and he's calling out and say Uncle Tom. He's going and he's saying, you know, oh dear, all right. Well, anyway, he's sort of he's a little bit critical here and there, shall we say? But he's lovely back, and he's just sending his love, and he's saying should take more water with it. He says.
So everybody says.
Huh?
That's what everybody says.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, you know, he's joining in with the chorus there. So just to know that everybody's there with you and wishing you well, and knowing that you're going to get better soon, Linda, and everything's going to be all right. And I see. All right. He's going on here. He's saying she's worried about whether she's going to get her movement in her arm and everything back afterwards. And he's saying you will be all right. You'll be all right. Take a while, he says, because you're getting older, he says.
Lovely.
Lovely. You know, so I say God bless you, Linda. I hope you've enjoyed that contact.
Lovely. Thanks very much.
Our loved ones. That's all right. Lovely lot they are. Lovely lot. Even your mum.
Yes.
Bless you. Thank you for coming on. And I will point out, you can't see it, but Mum opted to have a purple on her plaster.
Yes, Hannah.
Okay. Oh, right. Because they talked about that, didn't they?
Yes.
They asked me what colour, and Hannah said that I had to have purple.
Oh, wow. Very spiritual. Lovely, very smart, very stylish.
Yeah.
Right, Reverend Nick.
Thank you, Mother, and I'll keep you stay online. We'll have you back up at the end. Well, Reverend Lynn, I've got a surprise for you. Keep your fingers crossed.
Really? Yeah. Oh, hello, Philomena.
Hello.
You're now back in the land of the living.
I am, yeah.
Back in the land of the dead.
Hello.
Well, the signal certainly sounds a lot better.
It does, yeah. Hubby fiddled around with it and got it going.
So I'll get out of the way, shall I? And let you get on.
Lynn, thank you so much for stepping in there. And
that's all right. You know, I was always second best.
Never.
And to coin a phrase from
earlier,
now I owe you a gin.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, Tilly Hutton that I spoke of earlier, she used to ring me up if the medium didn't turn up. I only lived a quarter of an hour away from the church, so she'd ring me up on a Sunday at 6:25 and say, "Oh, the medium's not coming. Can you come?" So of course I'd jump in the car and get round there. So I always used to say I'm the second best medium. And when she died in the church, her daughter booked a Church of England vicar, of course, you know, being Church of England and everything as they were. And I got a phone call from Tilly's number. That really freaked me out. I thought, how can Tilly be ringing me from home when she's actually passed away? And when I answered it, it was her daughter who'd gone round to her house and got my number because she'd had to sack the vicar. And would I take Tilly's service, which was going to be in about 3 days' time? So I said, yes, of course I will. You know, and when I got out of the car in the car park to do her service, right, and everybody turned up from the churches and everything, you can imagine, they've all looked, they've gone, no, you're not doing the service, are you, Lynn? I'm going, yes. They said, oh, Tilly's got her way then. So I was still the second best.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah, so God bless you, Philomena. I hope that you have
Thank you so much.
Service. I know it'll be and you know, don't take no for an answer.
That's a good word to say.
No, medium's always right.
Oh, bless. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. God bless. Hang around. We'll have you back up later. Thank you.
Oh, I shall.
Well, Philomena, thank you for your efforts. I know certainly at this time of the game when something goes wrong, it's always a bit of a worry. But, you know, thank you ever so much for coming back on. Because we have been looking forward to it.
Yeah, I know. And I was looking forward to it too, to be honest.
And I mean, we had 45 minutes on here this morning together and it was not even a bother.
I don't know why.
We were discussing it while you were away. We thought a tractor might have driven past your house and messed with the signal.
Probably. I did have a planes going over.
There you go. Modern version of the tractor issue. Well, my lovely, are you ready to give out a message?
I am ready. Yes, I'm ready.
Excellent.
Okay.
In that case, let us bring up Carol, and her guest. Hello, Carol.
Hello, Carol.
Hi.
Hey, hello, darling. Now, this is another example of technical issues gone wild. We tried to get Carol up last week. Didn't work. We've been struggling, and you've managed to get up about 10 minutes into the service. So well done, doll. And I will leave you two to it.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Carol. Welcome. Bless you.
Thank you.
Now then, I'm going to see who I've got for you, Carol. Okay. I haven't done this before on screen, so you have to bear with me. Is that okay? Right. Okay, then. Hold on a second. Right. I feel that I've got your mother in spirit. Is that right?
Yeah.
Would this be your mother? Okay. Well, this lady has come through for you today. Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Yeah, she's come through for you today, your mother. And she brings a lot of love and warmth to you. Do you understand?
Yeah.
She's quite what's the word? She's quite an outgoing kind of lady. Okay. But she can be she can be quiet as well. Yeah, in her mannerism. She used to sometimes switch off, if you understand what I mean. And
Yes.
she was a good mother, a very good mother.
Yes.
And I've got this exuberance of love coming from her to you.
Oh,
Okay,
that's really
and
nice.
she knows, yeah, she's saying this time, you know, coming round you. Okay, and she's sending lots of healing to you as well, because she's put her hands out. Okay, and it's not just the physical side; it's also the mental side with you, the mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And she wants you to, I don't know why, but she's given me a big bunch of yellow daffodils for you as well.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know
Yeah.
if daffodils are significant to you,
Yeah.
but it's the colour yellow.
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, she knows that just recently you've not been in a good place. Do you understand?
Okay.
You've been
Yeah.
a bit low. All right.
Uh-huh.
And she knows that you're lacking in energy. Okay.
Yeah.
She's coming through with healing for you. She's going to boost your energy. Okay.
Oh, nice.
And she's also saying, I don't know why, she's touching my glasses. I don't know whether you're due for an eye test or anything like that. Okay.
No, but I know what she means about glasses.
Oh, is there something wrong with your glasses then? Is there? There's something wrong
She's
with them?
laughing because I'm wearing them.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Because I'm
She only
really
put my
vain. I normally
glasses.
wear lenses.
Ah, right. Okay then. Yeah. So it was
She
in
keeps saying
connection
to
with
me,
your
"Oh, you
eyes
look
as
lovely
well.
in your glasses."
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay. So it was in connection with your eyes as well.
Mhm.
She said that she's pleased that you're wearing them then. What else she's got? She's got a great sense of humour.
Oh,
Absolutely.
definitely. Yeah.
Great sense of humour. And she's got a big hearty laugh. Because she's laughing
Mhm.
now. Okay. The little doggy is lovely, she says.
Yeah.
You love that little dog. And
Oh.
she comes round the little animal quite a bit. And she's saying
Right.
that sometimes he stares into space. And she said it's
Yeah.
her. So she pulls very close to you. Okay? And you wonder what the doggy is staring at. All right? And it's her.
Yeah.
And she wants you to know that when that happens, that she's near you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
She's looking at your hair at the moment. So
Yes.
I don't know if you've been thinking about having a change with your hair, changing
Yes.
the colour or the style.
Yes.
Okay, have you been thinking about that, Carol?
Yes, I literally only said yesterday to my children, should I
Mm-hmm.
have my hair cut short? 'Cause it's very long. You can't see it, but it's very long. And they said no.
Right. Right, okay. Well, she is looking at it. And she says, if you feel that you want to have it changed, you change it.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Because she knows that you're a very giving mother. All right.
Right.
You're very kind. All right.
Uh-huh.
And you give a lot of energy away to your children. All right.
Yes,
And she's
yeah.
saying now is the time for you to do things for yourself. Okay. You're always going to be a good mother, and your children know that. And the thing is, it's time to take stock of yourself. We know that we've had this coronavirus, okay, and it's cut you off more than the average.
Right.
Okay, she knows that you've been cut right off. Okay, and it's
Oh.
due to your health. All right, and this is one of the reasons why we've been down in the dump. Okay, but she wants you to know that she is coming forward for you now, and she's stepping up to giving you healing. Can you hear that crackling noise? I don't know what's going on there. There's a crackling noise.
I think it might be her.
It could be her. You might be calling Rice Krispies. Crackling and pop. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, she sends her love to you. All right. And she's wishing you all the best. Okay, so take care of yourself. All right. Bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done, Philomena. And hello, Carol. Now, it's so good to have finally gotten you on
Hi.
after all of the difficulties we've endured.
I'm very pleased.
And say hello to Twinkle for me.
I will.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah.
Now, I'm not being psychic here, but Julia has said hello. Here we go. Hang on. just so to show that I'm not being overly clever. Twinkle. So I'm assuming that Twinkle is the name of yours.
Yes, this is the famous Twinkle.
Hello, Twinkle.
She's,
Gorgeous.
my well, my everything. If you can imagine.
Just everything, yeah.
Bless you.
She's
Well,
lovely.
thank you for coming on, darling. I know it was a struggle, but we got there in the end. No,
Thank you.
anytime.
Right.
God bless you, darling. See you soon. Well done, my dear. Right, well, we were discussing earlier on this morning our traditions and rituals regarding this particular service that we have. So I can see that they've just unmuted themselves. Hannah, darling, what time is it?
Oh, Hannah. Woo! Lovely. Yes. Oh, how wonderful.
Bully special prize. How are you, my lovely?
Are you good?
Good. Glad to hear it. You enjoying yourself?
Yes.
Good. And I'm not going to say anything about the conversations we've had yet, but it's good to see you smiling.
Yeah.
Bless you. So our Bully special prize does lead to our final message of the evening, but I'm not going to minimize the screen. I'm just going to say, Mother, turn the camera.
Hello.
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 Hello, Sam, you're right.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Right, I'll leave you two to it. This is your message, Phil. So I'll see you in a sec.
Thank you.
Hello, Samantha.
Hello, Philomena. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. That's a beautiful name, Samantha.
Thank you very much.
It's a lovely name.
Thank you.
Okay. Now then, I'm going to see who I've got coming forward for you. Okay, so if you hold on a second, is that okay?
That's
Hold
fine.
on a minute.
Thank you.
Right. I have got a grandmother energy coming through for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Did you know your grandmother?
Yes, I
You did? Okay. Yeah. Well, she's coming through for you. And this is a lady that is what you call, well, she's not overweight or anything, but she gives me the feeling that she's very cuddly. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Quite cuddly.
Yes.
She's of average height. Yeah, because so she's not exceptionally tall, but she's of average height. And she's the kind of lady, she has got a good sense of humour. Okay. But she's very, very straight talking. She's not blunt or anything, but if she's got something to say, she will say it. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. And she was the kind of lady, she would always tell the truth. So she was very honest. Okay. Yeah. And she was a lovely grandmother, actually, very, very lovely. And she could be very kind as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, very kind. She would not suffer fools easily.
No.
All right. So if something wasn't right, you could count on grandmother to say what she thought. Yeah. And sometimes she might have come across a little bit cold, but she was never cold. She was always warm, and she meant it came from the heart. Yeah. Now she's bringing with her red roses for you. Okay.
You.
Yeah, because I do tend to, with my messages, get flowers from them. You see, because I love flowers, and they bring through your favourite. You love red roses, don't you? Well, she's brought this for you. Yeah, and it's all to do with love. Okay, and it's also to do with energy because they're bright red.
Lovely.
They're deep red, like you know the velvet sort of roses that you get.
I do. Yeah.
They're very deep red. It's to do with energy. Now she knows that you lack in energy. Okay. Now, she's not going to say, she understands that you have a lot going on, okay? And she wants you to know, that she's around you and she sees you, okay? And she sees your young lady as well beside you, okay? And she tries to give healing to you both, all right? And that's difficult. She says that mentally you have been through a lot of stress, okay?
Yeah.
And it is hard for you at this particular time, all right? Because there is a lot going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing is, because it's also going on about resources being stretched. Your resources are being stretched. Is this to do with the social side of stuff? Is the fact that you can't go out very much?
Well, yes, for Hannah, yes.
Yes, it is. And it is for you, isn't it, as well?
Well,
you see,
yeah.
because the thing is, that interaction with other people is being a bit difficult during these times.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And you are a very social person. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, you're very much loved, she's telling me. You're very much loved. And your daughter, she's precious. Do you understand? She's special.
She is very special.
And she wants you to think, she knows it's hard, but she wants you to try and, in between, when she's resting, she wants you to rest as well if you can. All right? Because you try to do everything at once. So take your time. And that will restore your energy a bit more for you. So bless you and thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
For your lovely daughter. Thank you. She's wonderful. All right, and you're precious. Okay, don't forget that. So bless you.
Oh, thank you very much. That's lovely. Thank you.
Welcome.
Bless you. Oh, I like that. Philomena, thank you. And Sam, thank you for coming on. And am I allowed to mention what we discussed earlier?
It depends what it is. Oh, what my dad? Yeah.
Yes. Right, because we talk about the power of sending out our healing thoughts all the time. And it's always great to acknowledge the spirit world when that healing has had benefit and help and support. And I know it's been a great support to both you and your family. But would you like to share what has happened today, or what you shared with me today?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. My dad finally was able to go to the hospital to have a checkup because he'd been diagnosed with bladder cancer last year, and he got the clear today. So we're all very glad.
Got the all clear. So that is just wonderful, wonderful news. And you know, I know everybody has been sending out their thoughts to both him and yourselves and all of your family. I know there's been a bit of the Sam Clan takeover since we came online, which is wonderful as well. It's wonderful, and I've had a chat with your sister today about it as well. And so we are just so chuffed that through the wonders of modern technology and medicine and spirit, that he's in the all clear. So that is just brilliant news.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah,
God bless you, darling.
Well,
we will see you soon, and we'll bring you back up at the end.
Okay, lovely.
God bless, darling. Well, that is our 3 messages. Philomena, I really must say a massive thank you for your, not only your excellent mediumship, but your concerted efforts to keep online.
Well, I'm a very determined person.
We noticed. We really
I've got
did.
a lot of patience, you know.
Yes, well,
and
that certainly helps.
really disappointed, you know, that I couldn't at first be there. So hopefully you'll have me back again at some stage.
Absolutely. And what I will say, and I know many people who watch this are mediumistic, developing, or actual mediums, or anywhere in between. What I will say and what I will acknowledge absolutely is that it's an hard enough game at the best of times, but when things are going wrong, it's more of a struggle. So To have kept your composure is a credit to yourself and your guides with whom you work. So thank you so very, very much. And I'm sure Reverend Lynn will want to have something to say about that. So I'll pause for 3 seconds and then bring her back up to say hello.
Oh, lovely. That'd be wonderful.
2, 3. There we go.
Hello, Philomena.
Hello there. Hello.
That was good, wasn't it? You didn't have to tell anybody off.
I know. I was quite relieved.
Yeah, they could all accept everything. They weren't arguing with you. I think that was wonderful. That's probably a first for spiritualism.
Oh, that's good then. I'm pleased about that. Yeah, I'm pleased.
The mediums weren't arguing with.
Well,
it's very nice.
I give what to have you really.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, it's such a difference when you get somebody who obviously works with their spirit helpers and their guides and get good evidence of surviving people and come messages. You know, it's so important, isn't it?
I mean, I do feel blessed that they come around me the way they do, and I will never take them for granted. They know that.
Well, no, I mean, it's just so wonderful, isn't it? I mean, and what you've been through, Philomena, because obviously I'm a medium too, and I know what you've been through, and I think it's wonderful how you've come through it all and how you've managed to overcome things in your life that, you know, mine are all jumping about. To say that people should know, you know, what they say is that before you sort of are critical of people, you should walk a mile in their shoes. And I think that you've suffered from yourself in the past, and I'm really pleased to see, you know, how well you are and how well you've done. And I know that, you know, you'll be asked back, obviously, and perhaps I don't know even where you live, but you know, maybe you'll be able to come and actually visit us at the village hall.
Well, I hope so.
Yes. Services again.
I probably will. I think I will.
They're a wealthy lot. You don't get too many arguing with you.
I don't normally have anybody argue with me. Apart from my family, maybe. I've never had.
Always argue. They have to.
I've never had any no's or anything, so I've been fortunate. I think I've been fortunate.
Yeah, no, that's lovely. That's lovely. It was really a pleasure. So thank you for that. And
thank you.
You know,
I think really appreciate it. Thank you.
But it's just so nice to be part of all of this evening.
Oh, it is.
And so happy. And you know, you're giving people good evidence there, and I think that's really marvelous. You know, we need good mediums really when it comes to it all. So I'm sure that, you know, what I was trying to say, Philomena, was that, you know, there are always people now, because we're actually out there in the ether, as it were, over cyberspace.
Yes.
The amount of people can see our work, see what we stand for. And there must be so many people now who, seeing proper mediumship, genuine mediumship, now know what the benchmark is and how they can actually compare, because you need to see good medium so that you can see when there's a bad one. You know, that's what I think. So I think that what's accomplished tonight is that for all those people who perhaps have never, or even people who've never seen mediumship before, at least, you know, they can see good mediumship. And then if they have the misfortune to find some bad mediumship, or, you know, indeterminate mediumship, at least they know the difference, and they know that it does exist, you know, and that's the main thing, that there is life after this life, that they have got people over there who still love them, you know, and you've proved that to them. So that's a blessing, isn't it?
Thank you very much.
We've got to chat together, Philomena, you know, because all these people are listening into our conversation.
I know that.
And I will now take the opportunity to say that once we do get the once we do get the lockdown finished and we're all back together, I won't be able to mute you, and I'll never get a blooming word in edgeways.
Oh
No,
dear,
true.
oh dear. How sad, how
We're
sad.
both of us. You're back.
Don't worry, there are no donkeys. No, there are no four-legged donkeys left in the village.
Did you hear that, Reverend Nick? I just said to Philomena, I said, we'll have to do a double demo.
Oh,
On
now
the
that would be
Yeah,
something.
that'd be good. That'd be nice. Yeah, I'd like that. Very
Do
much.
a double, couldn't we?
We
Absolutely.
could, definitely. Yes, that'd be great.
Wouldn't they? They would
That'd
like
be
it.
wonderful.
We'll have to get a
Thank you.
double. We'll have to book the hall for a double slot, of course, though.
Yeah.
Bless you. Well, thank you for coming back on, Lynn, and I will just have a quick chat with Philomena and then close the service. So thank you, my darling.
Yeah, bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, once again, thank you ever so much, Philomena, for a wonderful, wonderful demonstration.
Oh, you're welcome.
Especially,
oh, you're welcome.
and I will just point out, I've put it a couple of times up, but nobody was taking any notice of me. Wendy will be in touch for that date, so Wendy is going to book you again.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, that'd be great. That'd be wonderful.
Absolutely, and then we can have a
Absolutely.
full service together.
look forward to
So, absolutely brilliant. Now, I've just got a couple of quick notices before we have the closing prayer. Now, I know we originally said that you'd do the opening and I'd do the closing. Would you like to do the closing instead, as you missed it?
I will do, yes. I'll do that for
Lovely.
you, yes. Yeah,
Lovely.
just
So I'll give you a
some
moment to prepare as I give out the notices. Now, there is a new closing sequence with a few pieces of information about various other new Christian Spiritualist Society events that go on online, notwithstanding, of course, and including our church on a Wednesday night at Pastures Green, and of course, Reverend Lynn's regular, almost daily updates of philosophical chat and spiritual teachings, which I know quite a few of her newer students watch us now as well. There's also Reverend Alan Acton. He has his spot on the dial from time to time, not as much as he used to maybe, but when he speaks, he's worth a listen. We also have up in the north, connected to Pastures Green there, of course, Tony Swindles. He also does quite a few demonstrations throughout the week. And some very good friends of ours down an independent Christian Spiritualist church. I've mentioned them before, The Light in Weymouth. They frequently do philosophical services. The only mediumship is philosophy. Very, very good group. And of course, another one that's a good one to look out for on a Sunday is Orpington. They have a group, so I'll drop some links down later. So sharing the love, sharing the messages, sharing the work, because there's a lot of good groups out there. And of course, if you want a daily digest of spiritualism, once again, look out for Reverend Lynn. The links will be in the closing credits. Sorry. So thank you all for joining us, and thank you, Philomena, for endeavouring to prove that not only life is eternal, but effort is worthwhile. So we'll bring everybody back up. I will mute everyone so there's no echo, but I will bring everyone back up for the closing prayer and the final goodbye. So here we go, here we go, here we go. I think that's all of us. Let's change the view.
Oh, there we are. Oh, that's fine.
There we are. There we go. Over to you, my love.
Okay. Right. If you'd like to join me, please, for the closing prayer. Dear Father, God Spirit, we thank you so much from our hearts and our souls and our spirit for joining us tonight at Littleport. We thank you for good communication, the clarity that you gave us to give from the world of spirit to those waiting here on this plane. We thank you so much. We thank you for the healing that is going to be forthcoming for us. We ask you to bless everybody here and protect them, and to help them to feel well through this virus, this pandemic, to be safe. We ask you, please, for our planet, the planet Earth, and we ask you for the animals and the vegetation of our planet, that it may flourish and stay green with blue skies. forever throughout this pandemic. God bless you all. And thank you, Spirit, for joining us tonight with those wonderful messages and for your evidence. God bless.
Amen.
Amen.
Bless you. Thank you, Philomena. And I think the signal's now starting to go, so we shall wrap it up. Ladies and gentlemen, give a lovely Littleport thank you to Philomena.
Thank you.
And I would just like to do it again, Dad. It is now time for tea and coffee, as the kitchen is now open. So thank you all. God bless you all. May the peace of the Great Spirit go with you all. We'll be back next week.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us, my love. And so, God bless you all. Take care. And here comes the credits.
Bye.